Look at this attention hound here. Can I put that down lower? I can. Look at him. Look at him. Freaking sat. Took a vet appointment yesterday. He's now milking it. I'm cute, aren't I? I deserve some attention. Oh, but you're a good boy, huh? You're a good boy, though. I love my doggo. He's a very good doggo. Can be a little annoying. What's that? Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. You're a vicious boy? Yeah, you're a vicious boy. Who are we kidding? You're vicious. Hey, Osage. Wow, you're quick tonight. Come on. I know. He's like, he sees me tapping on my phone and he's just like, ow. You okay? Flapped his head and hit his jaw on my chair. Turn that down. Go over to here. Ah, that'll help out. I'm not sharing this. It's graphic enough content where I can't share it. Let me tell you, life has been interesting to say the least. Not in a bad kind of way, but definitely a lot going on. What the heck? Oh, that's right, I was charging you. I was like, where did it go? So, allow me to go off on a short explanation. So much trash by my feet. So, number one, been a while with you, so I'll catch you up that I've been doing a little bit of writing. And I'll fill you in on this because it was kind of funny, but I'm doing a visual novel that I worked on a long while ago, even before you were a reviewer, I'm pretty sure. So the visual novel is just a concept right now. I don't really have means of making it physically, so it's not... It's right now in the developmental stage where I wanted to actually work on it. It's big. Like Lord of the Rings 3-book trilogy style big. And it's actually quite deep. It was always been in concept for like a decade, and I'm not even kidding about that. It's been in the works for actually a decade and a half, yep, when I was a teenager. So I built it up from there. It was meant at that point in early concept to be something completely different, and it just turned out like this. So I'm having I'm having to chat GPT. First and foremost, I'll lay this one to bed that yes, I've been using chat GPT to help me, but the work has been mine. I've input the information. Anytime that it made suggestions, I would make sure that it's still aligned with what my original vision was. But here's where it's funny, is that I usually ask for suggestions for things I haven't fleshed out. So it's like, I know I want... let me give you an example. Okay, so the main character has a sword that it's a fantasy RPG style. The main character has a sword that I know that he's going to lose in like the very end, but he's going to have it broken, and he has some smithing expertise already developed earlier. So he's going to bring it together, but he gets a relic from, at the point was an ancestor, but it's just going to end up being a high-end figure I won't spoil. But in that, he reforges it. And so it's like, okay, so I have that concept, but I don't know how he would get, I don't know how to actually make this an important symbolic reference. Can you offer some suggestions on how I can tie it in for some symbolism? So I'd get suggestions like that. And then it would offer some things, and in the case that if I liked its suggestion, I'd be like, okay, that's generic enough, that's fine. Or, if it's not where I had it in mind, I'd be like, okay, let me clarify that point. So, at the beginning, I was like, I started the new chat, I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do, and you're going to help me get there. So I have an idea for a project. It's a visual novel style, and I know that I want it to span such and such, and I gave it all the relevant information at the beginning. But I was like, okay, before we continue, or before we do anything, I want to state that I want to make this I want to be able to work on this in a way that I can develop it and flesh out the ideas properly and go on a step-by-step process, kind of like a metaphorical sandwich. I basically just want to be able to, layer by layer work on whatever's important, starting from the bottom up or whatever. And I just need your help in creating that format. If you can't read it. Oh, wait, hold on. There we are. When did I not... What? Yeah, hello? Transform. Fit to screen. Jeez. The frickin' AI literally called it the metaphorical sandwich framework. So that's what I've been referring to it in the chat. It's been actually kind of hilarious. It's a full roadmap, yep. It's like, freaking AI, bro. It actually did have me laughing. It was kind of funny. But, yeah, no. So this, I'll give you a quick read over it, but the top red to establish the vision and scope. So it starts with an elevator pitch. 1 to 3 sentence premise that focuses on the setting, central conflict, and core themes. Pretty easy. I was able to do that. I was able to give it the necessary details, like, okay, this is what I thought of it. Then it's like the tone and influences. You define that, for example, would it be epic? Would it be solemn? Would it be hopeful? Like the different tones. Inspirations, like what outside mediums influence the story direction. And decide how... And I basically established that this was supposed to be kind of like a Christian work, essentially. So it would include a lot of Christian undertones while at the same time still keeping the RPG element. And not really be stereotypical, like, oh, in the name of Jesus kind of deal. You know the type I'm talking about. But it's like how overtly the Christian themes will appear, like symbolic versus direct. It's kind of a mix of both, to be quite frank. There's a lot of parallels, and you'll know them when you know them. But the scope outline, clarify the overall structures, 2 major parts, list the occasional tasks. Now, I'll go back to the chat thing real quick. Wrong one. Here we are. I'm going to read this to you. And I want you to tell me whether or not you would be interested. Like, if you were looking for a new game, like, oh, I'm looking for an RPG style type of game. Something I can just read and go over. Tell me if this is something that you would read. And I'm unfortunately going to have to reveal a little information more than I would like, but we'll get there. In the quiet heartlands of Aslyri, where the divine is remembered more than heard, and the echoes of old wars lie buried in vine and stone, a scarred youth dreams not of comfort, but of distant paths once walked by legends. Marked by a scar none can explain, and a longing he refuses to silence. I can't read tonight. His quiet world begins to shift as whispers stir in places thought long at peace. Some say such moments are the turning of seasons. Others say that they are a birth of legend. For Miros, even peace can be the prelude to something greater, if one has the will to walk beyond the edge of the map. Now that was the initial, and it still kind of works, which is why I kept it. But now I'm going to give you the promotional pitch one. It's not as good, but yeah, give it a second. In the peaceful lands of Aslyri, where myth clings to prayer and the divine has long since faded into silence, a boy dares to dream of more than the quiet life expected of him. Bearing the mark of a scar and the burden of restless ambition, he sets out from his humble village toward distant horizons. What begins as a simple quest for purpose becomes a journey through ancient ruins, forgotten legends, and truths buried deep within the soul of the world. Again, not as good, but I have one more, but that's more for my reference, so it's kind of like detailed in ways that probably aren't appealing for a pitch. But that was the elevator pitch, and then there was one more. And this one I will read because this is updated with a lot more information. I don't know why. Actually, no, that's good. That's good. The Songs of Miros. I'm going to leave it at that. There's a fuller title. I don't want to say any more, but The Songs of Miros, it's a high fantasy visual novel about 6 heroes seeking purpose and redemption in a continent torn between ancient light and encroaching darkness. Encroaching. Drawing on Christian-inspired themes of faith, sacrifice, and hope, it tells a story where personal growth and spiritual mystery shaped the fate of the world. Yeah, it's big. Giggity. That's what she said. Let me see. So, I'm still working on it, and I need to kind of update it. I'm working my way toward that. But supposedly the scope and structure of everything, and as a full release, at the end of it all, should be in grand total about 25 to 35 hours. Estimated, might be longer, might be shorter, but that's supposed to be in like a solid sit-down of multiple days like you would normally play a game. It's a visual novel. So, divided in by 3 books, as it's called, it's supposed to be a rough 8 to 10 hour playtime. Again, you're reading, so it really depends on how fast you could read and how invested you are into learning details. But 8 to 10 hours, that would be average. The second book would be a little bit shorter, from 6 to 10, and then the leftover hours from book 2 would go into book 3. So, book 1 is kind of like a peaceful tone. It shows the introduction to the world, and there is like a structure in there for the story writing of intro, climax, so on and so forth. Conflict, climax, etc., resolution. So, book 1, peaceful and introspective. It focuses on the world introduction, character beginnings, and the spiritual silence that exists. Book 2 is character separation, divine symbols, and erasing conflict, but the tone is grounded and it's an escalating tension. And in fact, actually, I like one of the things on that. I'll talk about that concept in a second. But the last one, book 3, is supposed to be an epic and hopeful, where now there's a reunion. We have a messianic figure, which is supposed to be the world savior for that, and I'll go into that another day, because it gets detailed, and I'm excited about it, but I also realize that I don't have a lot of time. And lastly, spiritual fulfillment. Let me make sure we're good here. Just what I was hoping. You owe me on that. No, you don't owe me shit. Anyway, let's actually... Where are you? It's the cross plot. I don't need that. Build the world. Where are you? Was this it? This was it. Yeah, so they changed it up a little bit from what it started, and I'm fine with that, but it's basically it goes through the intro, conflict, climax, resolution. The narrative of the outline and the structure was updated and everything, but I'll give you the introduction and the setting, because this would be already established anyway. Got to put a check mark. State of the world for the intro, the world before. The continent of Asleri is a period of time of relative peace where no global conflict... I can't read, oh my god. While no global conflict looms... Wow. Blending my L's. The land is divided into 5 territories. Northeast, Southwest, and Central. Under the overarching rule of the main kingdom, a feudal monarchy based in Central Asleri, and alongside it operates the Church of Light, a highly influential theocratic body akin to the medieval Catholic Church. That's where the inspiration comes in. These two institutions Yeah, I don't know what happened with my patch notes this morning. Apparently reading got removed and bugged. Now, I'm also dehydrated, so I'm just hydrating real quick and hoping that'll fix some issues. The two institutions operate in symbiosis. The kingdom enforces the law and order, while the church manages spiritual guidance, education, and healing. There's also arcane schools, so give that in mind. Though the land is calm, faint divisions stir from the distrust between regions to political stagnation. The early events. The story opens in the town called Bluewell, and that's subject to change. Every town and everything is subject to change. Where our protagonist, Aiden, lives a quiet life as a blacksmith's apprentice. His past is veiled in mystery, an orphan of the tragic Dark Hunt, still subject to change. It's just the easiest title to come up with, quite frankly. He bears a scar of both literal and spiritual proportions, literally a scar through his cheek. In Chapter 1, a beloved local blacksmith, he journeys out, and that's where it starts. I won't give his name, is murdered by a bandit leader, won't give his name either, sparking Aiden's first direct counter with evil. The traumatic moment shakes the sleepy life of It's not in Bluewell, I told them to correct that. And sets Aiden on a journey. It's a different town, I'm still figuring it out. From here, he begins traveling the continent, meeting his future companions. I will not give their names because I want to keep it somewhat redacted. I should just say that from now. Redacted. And then meeting a guy called Redacted. A little too loud. Anyway, redacted on 5 other character names. A recurring visual motif, and you would not. I know, if I recall correctly, you're not very spiritual yourself, Sage. So you might not know the whole thing behind the dove descending onto Jesus and his baptism. There's a motif pulled from that as a heavenly dove. NDA, non-disclosure. Can't say it, non-disclosure agreement. I gotta actually get one of those, quite frankly. I'm the only one working on it. I began the project with a friend, and he's no longer in the picture, although I'd love him to be. I don't even know. Yeah, so basically when Jesus is first baptized, the Holy Spirit descends as a dove, and God's voice comes down and says, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." So the moth is kind of like pulling from the Holy Spirit's descent as a dove, but for creative licensing purposes, I swapped it to a moth, which represents hope in times of despair. Kind of a cool concept. And I did that for creativity, not for anything else. But anyway, recurring visual motif. The moth begins appearing in moments of crisis or introspection, symbolizing unseen divine grace and hope in despair. Moves on to the conflict, which are fractures in the peace, the disruption of normality, and choices and division, where the group faces their internal conflicts. Having just met each other, they're journeying with each other, and there's some distrust. There's a climax where an event happens that's not supposed to normally happen. There's intervention from a mysterious character. They're attacked by a dark entity that I won't go into right there because that would be spoiling too much, but basically there is a revelation and a cost. And it's kind of cool. I really wish I could tell more, but I really don't want to just lay it all out. So that's there right there. Wow, that's kicking in. Well, anyway, there's Redacted. Yeah, that's basically the overall if I had to make it, but I will reveal this real quick. I have to also use the restroom. There's multiple religions, including pretty much the ones that you would think of in a standard RPG. There is the divine light, there's darkness, there's arcane magic. As far as those, they all accumulate their own individual religions. And then 4 other religions that exist outside of that, which also include cults. Now, why is this important? Because now I just fleshed out the world and gave answers to some of the stuff that you would normally not see inside. Yeah, there we go. I'm glad you would read it. That's all I kind of need to know. But that is... Is that the mythic framework by definition? Oh, no, that's something different. Anyway, give me 2 seconds. I gotta use the restroom. BRB. I'm back. So I want to quickly cover something else. Are you still here, Sage, before I go on? No. You might be gone. No. Oh, okay, good. You are the concurrent viewer. Okay. Oh, there we go. It says 2 now. Stupid. Anyway, so I would be remiss if I didn't point out some other things here real quick. Put that back over here. It's probably not going to matter. So, Christian-inspired themes. I think this is it, right? Yeah, lore additions and all that. For my reference, where are you? There was one that was actually kind of cool. There's one that was kind of cool that I would like to share. Actually, no, this is kind of universal enough. No, you're good, bro. I don't think it's on your end. I'm joking around. It might be on just a delay. It's fine. So here's something cool. I asked it to come up with a parable that would kind of link. A lot of the influence comes from Christian ideas. So this is one right here. Central allegorical tale. And it's not really the central. I just copied and pasted it. 2 flames are lit from the same source. One seeks to shine and the other seeks to burn. The shining flame illuminates the path of travelers and warms the weary. But the burning flame consumes all around it, including its own base. In the end, the burning flame collapses into ash, while the shining flame is carried into heavens by the wind. The lesson of that parable, and this is kind of cool: light given in love sustains, life hoarded in pride destroys. I'm loving it. Sounded kind of badass. And then I had it come up with a mythic framework, and I'm still coming up with finer details. For right now, this is just serving as like the, as it stated, framework to how the mythos would look being relayed. So this would be like a reading from the passage of such and such, because there is a Bible equivalent in the series. As recorded by what is called the Path of Light, that'll be the Bible equivalent. In the beginning there was only the flame, pure, boundless, and unbroken. From the flame came the voice, and from the voice came light, and the light bore a name. Redacted, the flame of eternity, and the creator of Miros. I have to retain some creative licensing here. Thus the faithful recount of the origin of all things. Redacted in his triune essence. Redacted of light. Redacted of light. And breath everlasting, because that's a universal enough phrase right there. Formed the world of Miros, and filled it with wonder. From his hand came the rivers, the mountains, the air, and the sea, and all creatures that dwell upon the face of the world. In his first acts of providence he appointed 2 mortals to bear his word and teach his way. Redacted and redacted! So pure were their hearts, they walked unshaken through shadow and were lifted into his flame. Those became the first ascended, the ever-witnesses of light. Yet not all bowed to the flame. In the void beyond Miros there whispered 7 shadows, born from rebellion and wrath. These were the deities of darkness, each a personification of corruption. You know the 7 sins. They tore their own planes from the borders of Miros and cast poison into creation. It's kind of a weird way of phrasing it now that I think about it. Mortals fell, kingdoms bled, and so began the age of dimming. In the fullness of time, Redacted sent his light among mortals as Redacted, the Redacted of light. He walked unseen through the suffering, teaching mercy and healing wounds and kindling faith. It's Jesus. In the day of fire, he met the herald of despair. Redacted! and cast him down, and then redacted, having fulfilled his mission, vanished into flame, the watcher of all things. But his light was not extinguished. It is said he shall walk again, and so the faithful wait, not idle but vigilant. Redacted! Ah, Lord. Too much fun. You good? Don't puke. Please don't puke. Redacted! The book. But I actually, you know what I will do, though? I will go over the bestowments and the systems of magic that essentially exist. It's a universal enough concept, but it divides between arcane magic, which focuses on like mana and the energies that exist around in creation, and then there's bestowment, which comes from a direct contact of a deity. So light bestowment and dark bestowment are the only two bestowments that exist. But it is... I like how they phrased it, because I gave it the description of what I had in mind, and then they kind of elaborated on it and was like, oh, this is how the system would work. Oh, that's cool. So the spiritual framework of how the bestowment works is that power flows through faith and purpose, not mere will. I also had to clarify that this was not just an exclusive power, that bestowment can happen with anybody who has the ability to essentially access it. In other words, they have to submit to the will of the one who gave the tool. So it wasn't just, oh, one character can do this. No, this is anybody and everybody can do it, but technically you have to channel it. There needs to be a catalyst. So it needs to be a pendant, a relic, a fragment of scripture, and then you focus the power. And then again, open access, any mortal can receive it if spiritually aligned, though it manifests differently based on the devotion and training. And the common users are typically those in positions of power within the church, and so on and so forth. But here is... Where are you? False catalysts. I like that idea, though. Here are the limitations, though, and because this is what makes the system kind of interesting. There is fatigue, which prolongs and drains physical vitality. A spiritual strain where misalignment of motive versus action can create a burnout. Divine catalyst depletion, frequent use weakens or destroys the catalyst over time. And then a divine silence where a grave moral failure causes the light to withdraw permanently or temporarily. It doesn't really matter. It'll fit in the story the way I put it. But here's the burn limits, the mortal barrier. Because both of them actually have their burnout limits, both light and dark, but I like how they described it. So they gave it different stages, and I actually like it, so I'll use them, but I'll keep it just for creative licensing and all that. But it's divided into 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1, your veins glow and your skin blisters, your days... basically the result is days of recovery and the catalyst stress. Then the second one, which is radiant bleeding, skin fissures, because your body just can't handle that amount of power. And I'll explain this in a second, because I actually got, not scolded, as it were. I kind of got a little pushback for that, because it's like, oh, but if you're one with your creator, then there is no drawback, because that's not how the spirit works. Yeah, but... you have to understand that your body is still technically not perfect, and it can't contain the amount of abundance of power. He has to withhold, or you'll die. and that is in turn just for the creative licensing again, to create like a little bit of drawback, like don't overuse this power. And most of them are good. However, level 2, scars are possible, and probable temporary blindness. I didn't even read that last one. But scars and I knew scars were there because of the bleeding and all that, but temporary blindness. I had to rush through a lot. But the last level 3, your body radiates uncontrollably, and you either die by incineration unless divinely spared. I read that so casually, oh my god. But the theological principles are also kind of cool. Light does not bend to the will of man, it bows only to surrender. Light bestowment is not energy to be mastered. It is a relationship with the divine. Power flows through belief, not pride. Yes, that was a damn good line. So, that's light bestowment. I really need to order these things. Where are you? Then there's dark bestowment. This one is the one that is actually through your will of forcing and all that. So the source is coming from those 7 deities aforementioned, redacted and redacted and redacted, and we'll go through there. Power flows through submission to sin and inner darkness. Cue the 7 deadly sins. Here we are. So the corruption and cost. This one comes in 4 levels. So you'll notice that when you actually look at the light, it's kind of destroying your physical, because your physical can't handle the spiritual. But even in turn, divine purpose can kind of help you through with that. Well, it still saves you. It's like not a bad thing to overdo it because your body might die, but if you're doing it in the service of good, then obviously reaching that point is probably you're just leveling up. So 4 levels for dark, though. So it starts with body chills, dulled senses, because level 1 is diminished empathy, craving for power. So you start hitting that point. Level 2, black tears and memory loss, erosion of identity and shadow hallucinations. Level 3, skin grays, voice distorts, fragmented personality and mental instability. And then finally, Level 4, your body collapses inward. Your soul is now lost and your body becomes a vessel or a monster. It is inherently unstable. Only the strongest can wield it long before burning out or falling into madness. Now here's where this is kind of cool, because I already had this concept in mind. The light feeds your soul, and your body is the thing that suffers. But here, yes, your body still suffers and you get the power and everything, but you now lose your soul. Where light will feed your soul, darkness will steal it. All for the sake of power. But here's the kind of cool thing. The notable spiritual themes, kind of like what I read from Light. Power is gained through loss of restraint, moral compromise, and rejection of order. Every act of darkness strengthens the tie between the user and the deity, eventually transforming the user into a vessel. No true mastery exists, only further submission. Now this is I think the burnout limits here were what I just went over, right? Oh, those were not even it. That's the corruption and cost. Yeah, let me talk about the burnout limits. The same 4 levels, but it kind of elaborates a little bit better. Pale body, fading voice. This is the first one when you hit the mortal barrier. So, psychological detachment and initial decay. Then the second one is loss of joy, emotionlessness, and actions, which is increasing aggression and craving corruption. Level 3 is blackened blood, cracked skin, mutated features, loss of personal identity. And then finally, level 4, full corruption and soul is extinguished, as we already know. Becomes a husk, wraith, or servant creature. It's dark. Theological reflection. The light requires surrender. The dark requires abandonment. I like it. Where light transforms through faith, dark hollows through consumption. It is a perversion of divine order, one that offers instant strength and long-term destruction. Now there is characters, like one of the main characters in the cast, who, without spoiling too much, will be a vessel for dark, and he suffers through some of these things. Again, not trying to give away too much. To what extent, I won't say, but to say the least is he's kind of like a catalyst in the story for redemption, and no matter how far gone you are, you can still be redeemed. So he goes through some of these things, and I just imagine his appearance is actually quite intimidating. Lastly, the Magecraft system. Now, this one draws power from 3 sources. It's not like Bestowment, where it's a divine entity going through you through a catalyst. It's actual arcane magic. Natural energy, aura, or spiritual energy, the life force of living beings. And then lastly is mystic and cosmic laws. So the last one, very difficult to kind of pick up, but I'll figure it out. So the disciplines of magecraft. There's elemental magic, you pretty much already know. There's water, fire, earth, air, lightning, and nature, drawn from the elemental forces around. Then there's neutral magic, which is stuff like kinetics, manipulation of force, gravity, and pressure, aura, life force enhancement, and bodily fortification, not fornication. Fornication. Body fortification. I need to specify. And then mentalism, which is telepathy, memory illusions, fear casting, etc. Requires greater personal control. Then there's aethral magic, A-E, thrall magic, which is Luna, soul, space, time. Luna is like dreams, illusionary veils, mind, shadow interplay. Soul is radiance, clarity, and spiritual illumination. Space and time, I don't really need to mention that. Then there's forbidden stuff, which includes darkness, which is like necromancy, as well as void, which is like unraveling existence. It's kind of cool. Black holes. Then there is light magic, but these... it's... bleh. I don't know how to properly explain it, other than that the deities allow the dark to kind of override because they just get their way anyway, and then light's just like, you don't get to use me. Like, you might have an essence of my power, but it is nothing but child's play, like a child in the marketplace trying to mimic their parents doing something. You can pretend all you want. It's just not like the real thing. In this case, there's tools and focus aids. So staves, runestones, all that good stuff. It's not like a catalyst, but it can help you channel, and then just as you upgrade, you can just use your hand. Fingies. So light is Uno reverse card. Yeah, no, you. Then there's energy cost and limitations, which is basically your mental clarity, your actual spiritual stamina, as well as your physical stamina. Let's just be honest. I should have just said stamina. Then different disciplines. Don't really need to go into that. There is teleportation. I'm trying to figure that out so it's not like a MacGuffin of explaining how they get from place to place. Practice and education. Narrative functionality. Nope, we're all good. But the arcane is in there. And then last, I don't know if there's anything in here. Let me see. Continental. Historical. Kind of like a rough historical outline. Not really anything I can share without giving out too much. I'm at the I am there. I was about to say, what? 7,000-year timeline. Still need to work on that. There's a couple of things that need correcting. I didn't fix that part. It'll be corrected soon. I'm working on it anyway. Let's go over to character development. We shall go to the main character, Aiden, who I've already mentioned. His name is Aiden. His role in the story is the primary protagonist as well as the spiritual hero archetype. His starting point is in Book 1, where he begins as a young idealistic blacksmith's apprentice in a peaceful town, orphaned during a dark event known as the Dark Hunt. He was raised by devout caretakers and grew up surrounded by the faith of the Church of Light. Though untrained, he dreams of adventure and heroism, carrying the emotional and physical scar of his past on his face. Initially lacking combat ability or confidence, he sets out to prove his worth and seek deeper meaning beyond a village life. His core conflict is that he struggles with self-worth, inexperience, and his spiritual identity. His journey requires him to reconcile his desire for purpose with his internal fears and his role in a growing divine plan. His scar becomes a physical and symbolic reminder of his weakness and potential. I don't really need to actually mention this. Spoilers for the story. Yeah, and some key relationships with characters that I can't really do. But he has a love interest in the source of his emotional and spiritual support and grounding. He has his best friend, which is the one that I was talking about before, which was like the redemption. Yeah, no, you go to sleep. I'm just finishing up this last bit real quick. Has his friend, turns from ally to conflicted enemy, but it's like, don't give up hope. Has his other ones who he slowly earns their respects and everything. but the symbolism and allegorical roles. I'll just quickly read this and then you can go. He represents the faithful everyman called to a higher destiny. He embodies spiritual growth, the pursuit of divine purpose, and the slow refining of character through trial. He symbolically parallels biblical figures like David, humble beginnings, and ultimately Christ-like reflections in his sacrifice and restoration role. That's it. His character's pretty much that. Wait, what the heck? Oh, that's right. I forgot I put that in here. Either way, it's there. Alright, you go to sleep, Sage. I'm sorry for keeping you up so long. But, yeah. It's good talking to you, and it's good talking about this. I might just switch over to gaming, because it's going to be easier to maintain than talking to nobody. Did I have 4 viewers at one point? What the heck? Alrighty then. Anyway, you have a good night, bro. No, we can do that later. Alrighty. Let's see how far we can get, because I have to wake up tomorrow pretty decently. That's another thing, too. I was initially working yesterday, and I had to wake up really late today and then work a shift, so I'm a little bit more wired than I probably should be. Again with this? Come on. Yeah, but the story building thing, I don't know. I was doing it at one point, writing something, so I know that it exists on my channel somewhere in my streams. But I need to be more careful now that I'm thinking about it, because I can't just be putting my creative ideas on an open forum like this. So I gotta figure that out. No, I don't care. I'll get live another day. Fist! Yeah, I don't think I can do this alone without getting some assistance.
Is that him? How? No interest. Lively.
No, not enough Titanite chunks. Oh, what was the name of it? Shoot. Okay, so I gotta basically make it there. Not a big deal. Great move. Alright, doggy. Bro. I love you, I really do, but you gotta move. Move. Move, dog. He just likes to stick behind me. Deep etch. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. Keep that. Yeah, I would rather burn through a bright bug for that, being how close I had to get and the amount of fighting I needed to do. Just to make sure I didn't die. Itch. Oh shoot, wait a minute. I don't think I need it. Yeah, I'm not getting ganged up on. I don't think I need it. He was still... I thought he died. Whatever. Am I dealing less damage now with that? Oh, shoot. Significantly. Okay. Did I get a pale stone? Shoot, I didn't get a pale stone. I know where to find one, though. Hailstone? Come on. Can I get a Palestone, please? I'm not re-upgrading everything. Significantly weakened myself. Palestone? The one time I really don't need a blue cracked eye orb. Come on. Bruh, I don't need an online item when I'm not even in the... I'll eventually get it. Dude! It can't be that critical. It's a Palestone. Bruh. Bruh. One way or another, I'm getting a Palestone. I just need one thing. One thing for you. One favor. Come on. I don't think you want to get four-piece together. What is mine? Really? Bro, it can't... It just can't be this hard. It just can't be the... It's never this hard. Oh. Screw it. Bitch. Eat that. I will literally get everything but his Palestone. The other one might come and get me though if I'm not careful. Nope, I'm being chased. Run! Also run! Yeah! Oh my god, okay. Everybody just saw that, right? Just want to make sure. Oh my lord. I'm just trying to get to the next boss. I don't need this much pressure. Palestone? Dude, I will literally get everything but the Palestone. I will have 3 complete sets of Old Knight armor by the time I get there. I'll even get the super rare Ultra Knight's Greatsword before I get that. Like, come on now. You can only get this once in a million playthroughs. The Palestone that are a dime a dozen? Nah, bro. Screw you. Eat that! Oh my god, there we go. Yeah, let's run. Oh my god, that's 2 for 2. That time I was a little too far left. It would have just put me into the water if I wasn't careful. Oh my god, he jumped in the water. It's actually ending up a lot more fun than I thought. A little difficult from time to time, but not too bad. Flame. Dear Flame. Alright. Look how ripped and posh this man is. If only I did not call him Fist. Alright. Here we go. Yeah, that should be fine. Here I thought I was going to get away without hitting, and then it hits me with the cheesiest iframe. Bro, come on. What do you mean, seek? Oh my god. Oh, right, I need to hit like 1 million soul memory or something, right? Definitely would have done that. Shoot, I am so close. And these are not going to be enough. Yeah, I need 1 million soul memory, I think. I think I know what to do. Unfortunately, it requires a little bit more effort than I would like to give. Also, I'm going to make an exception for something. Normally, I wouldn't do that, but, enough. I'm an idiot. Shoot. I should have left myself with something. Easy souls, easy souls. You know, it helps me get Gavlon, so I may as well. I screwed myself so badly on that one. And this area should be a lot easier with my upgraded equipment. If that's the case, though. Bradley? Thank you. If I ever decide to beat this boss. And I don't have to go through the whole thing again. by having two pieces available, that just helps out a lot. Ooh, you. Yeah, none of them really fit the aesthetic. I'll keep the pyromancers, the tattered cloth stuff. Yeah, I'll save some souls. I need to go get Gavlon in the second one, so he'll be at the third location, but that's take me a second.
What? Visit me.
Yeah, once I get Gavlon here, I can just teleport back and I'll go face the boss again. I really hope I'm not wasting another bright bug for nothing. I'm going to need them a little bit later on, and they're not easy to come by. Dude. Come on. I'm dodging early, and I hate that. Come on. Don't do that. So I'll have 1,000,000 and I can get through it. So much fun. But while I got all those, I'm just gonna quickly buy those bright bugs that I lost out on. Now I should be able to go through. Oh, I gotta open it manually? Just to get a little steam out. Invisible dudes. Not easy to kind of kill, but you normally don't fight them. You just normally run past them. For anyone wondering what I'm doing, I'm pretty much just doing a fist-only challenge where it's you can only use your fists, and I kind of extended into these things because otherwise the alternative is something I legit can't do. Never beat the game with fist-only weapons. Or just fists only in general.
You're so...
They were at 8, right? So that means I don't have the slabs. Oh, that's not the good one either. Shoot. Yeah, that's not the good one. Making it worse for myself. Okay. We're gonna have to... Shoot, I can't. I am making it infinitely worse on myself. Okay. Oh! I didn't realize they were that close. Bro, How? Okay, proceed to kill me. I don't care. Come on, do it. Do it. Thank you. Took a while. As long as I got the bonfire, I'm right there. So. Some of the longest dialogue to get to his shop.
Be safe, buddy.
Too close to my camera. Oh, shoot. I think I could do this without a bright bug. Weird, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have her. At the very least, you could probably shoot down the dude. Just, perfect. Oh my god. Kind of funny, but no. The aesthetic doesn't. It's not as funny as it could be. Alright, so I'm about 90% certain he's going to be damage resistant to a very large extent, so... Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a waste, but thankfully I know to make up on that one, it's fine from this point. I don't need it for every boss, but I do need it for, at the very least, a few more. So the good news is that they're prone to stunning. The bad news is that it takes both punches, and I know I'm going to get overwhelmed. So I have to be putting on that ring to make them stun almost instantly.
This is all.
Yeah, that's the only saving grace right now, is that I'm able to punch them into submission and they're prone to poise break. I think these boots are funnier. Yep. Oh, come on. Thank you. It just looks like he's wearing a diaper. And now I got my bonfires maxed out, which means that I have the maximum healing.
Is that a shot? No interest.
I'll be around. for that.
Visit.
I'll be around.
Bearer of the curse.
So I need to make sure I live. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, that wasn't so bad. You have got to be kidding me. He's now just screwing with me, showing up. Yeah, you know what, Schmidt? Oh, shoot. Schmidt, do you want to attack him, please? Thank you. Freaking king of useless idiocy. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, bro. Bro, can you not? Oh my god. Okay, no. You're staying over here and you're fading away. Freaking dumbass. I don't need any of that. I don't want to have to do this, but I do need... I do need it. I don't want to do it, but I do need it, so... Gonna hate this. Ooh, thunder. I totally went to the wrong one. Skip past this dude. Did close the... They didn't. Good. Ah, wrong one. Wrong bonfire. There is actually a thunderstorm moving in, so I gotta probably get off so it doesn't, Yeah, I hear the thunder now. Alright. Let me grab this last thing and I'll go to the bonfire where I actually unironically started. Funny enough how that worked. Oof. That was a little too close. You know what? I don't hear any thunder right now. I'll go take care of them. I'm gonna help Pate this time. I normally don't do that. Eat that, you jerk. Yeah, the spiders will trap me if I'm not careful. And this door will trap me if I'm not careful. If he's still there, let's see if he gives me his armor. Nope. Still don't hear thunder. I think we're good for the minute. I don't know why I invested in the claws. Do I not have the bow anymore? I sold the bow? Who sells a bow? A longbow may as well. Hmm, 7-point difference per fist. Not really a big deal. Still don't hear any thunder. I think we're good for the moment. Let's see. Come on. And just as I begin the boss fight, eat that. Yeah, thunderstorm are actually rolling this time. Because now it's back to back to back to back to back. I'm hearing thunderstorm. Alright. He is just that much closer to completing the game. Alright, so you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. I will be actually resuming my Healed by the Blood tomorrow. And it's mainly just going to be talking about what I did for my college work and everything. Been a while since I did it, so I am a little excited to actually get back into that swing of things. But, until that point, you all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening.